So there has been an explosion of research, publications, even textbooks written dedicated to the black cumin seed now since the last time I gave a talk about a year ago. And so 3,000 years and counting. So let's get this meeting started. So, we'll see here that I'm going to break this up into 3 segments. One, we'll just go over some background and what are some common opportunities today for black cumin seed, abbreviated BCS, in the 21st century, but really today, as Susie mentioned, and seed-based nutrition as an anti-inflammatory solution. So this is just, get my highlight pointer going here, a lead pointer. So the 2 first images are the Nigella flower, and this is the plant in the 3rd picture. And 4th, this is what black cumin seed really looks like, just as an introduction and background. But the black cumin seed, a lot of reviews. This is a very comprehensive review in 2021, looking at the phytochemistry, something again that Susie hit on during her talk, the health benefits, molecular pharmacology. So this is getting down into the science, and this is really about the knowledge to show you that this has been not just 3,000 years ago where we didn't even have the technology to analyze seeds. All we know is that it worked. And if someone said 3,000 years ago it worked, it worked. It got us here somehow. When you look now at the publications, and this dip is in this graph, the number of documents and publications that are coming out every year has been consistently high except for COVID pandemic. But I can tell you that after this COVID pandemic, it's continued to follow that graph all the way up. And so when we look at the different types of publications, I said there are book chapters, there are reviews, there are editorials. When we look at which industry is really looking at this, you can see medicine is 20%. And we're going to go over some of that medicine, why medicine industry is playing a good interest in this, and it's mostly pharmaceutical companies. So again, 20% medicine, 20% pharmaceutical companies. They wouldn't be going after this unless it was, pretty much, essential and important. So it does have huge benefits. Of course, the biochemistry industry and every other industry when you're dealing with any kind of food substance. Now, the power of seed, its application, how it's used, the end usage, what Susie was talking about is taking your rain products every day. Well, here it is. And so we're looking at using seed, the power of seed, but this is specific for black cumin seed as an anti-diabetic agent. And we're going to go a little bit into diabetes, anti-cancer, which is huge. It's the 2nd leading cause of why someone dies on planet Earth today is cancer. And so looking at this as an anti-cancer agent, immunomodulation, anti-inflammatory. We said most diseases come from inflammation in the body. So this is an anti-inflammatory, uses, antioxidants, almost the same, very similar in terms of decreasing the inflammation in our body. And it's used for many other causes, as you can see here. It's even used for nephroprotection, which is kidney failure, to protect the kidney, pulmonary protection. The one I like is hepatoprotection, which is liver protection, which I'll show you again with diabetes. Cardioprotection, of course, that's my field. Neuroprotection, the brain. Susie was mentioning that we have a lot of mental illnesses out there today. So you can see that these super seeds, the reason why they call them super is because the power of seed nutrition is just, it blows away anything else that's out there on the market. And so from this review in 2021 shows that the major, there are a lot of ingredients in the black cumin seed. When you break it down, you can actually follow these molecular pathways, looking at anti-cancer, antioxidants, and you can see here broken down again. Right now today we have all of the different cytokines, all of the different ILs, and all of the different cytokines that are involved in each of the pathways that I'll be talking about. You can see from cardioprotection to liver protection, neuroprotection, kidney protection, even anti-arthritis, anti-cancer, as I spoke about, skin protection. Again, the whole list of what we deal with and what we see as doctors and as in the healthcare field. So specialty seeds, this is the safety comprehensive review for food and safety, and you can see here in 2020, you can go through your fruits and nuts aisles in the grocery store or in your health food store. You may see chia seed, a lot of chia seed, a lot of flax seed, and again, these are also contained in some of rain products. pumpkin seed also, but you're not going to see the black cumin seed in your grocery store as of today. I mean, and so clearly you get that in all your in your products with rain, and so it's such an essential super seed, an ancient seed, 3,000 years and counting. But what we see here is that each of those seeds that I just showed you that were highlighted and is in most of rain products, again, it has its all its content, minerals, vitamins, and most importantly, all the essential amino acids, which again, that's what makes it comprehensive. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of what compounds and chemicals are found, natural compounds that's got us here 3,000 years. So Thymoquinone is one of the major companies zoning in, looking at which compound contained in the black cumin seed is really accounting for most of these health benefits. And so if they had to break it down, Thymoquinone is just one of many of the ingredients inside of the seed. And so you can see here that thyroquinone, abbreviated TQ, it's abbreviated, and you can see all the different pathways, and all of these pathways are in our human body, from our brain to every cell in the human body. And you can see here, for instance, it inhibits carcinogenesis, and that means cancer. It can help prevent liver ischemia, lung injury, infections, diabetics and its complications like nephropathy, retinopathy. All of those are the side effects of being a diabetic. And again, inflammation, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, and again, it inhibits tumor proliferation. So the tumor starts growing, but it can inhibit the growth of these tumors. So very potent. When we look at the more reviews that are coming out more and more, like I said, every day these reviews are coming out, science papers published. This is 2021. I mean, bold statements to say that that it can be used in cancer as prevention, even using that word, preventing cancer. I'm sure we know of someone who has died of cancer. I have an uncle, he passed away, he had cancer. And so, it's the second leading cause of death is cancer. When we look at all the different types of cancer, it's listed here: lung cancer, cervical cancer, all the different cancers that are listed here. And you can see that Nigella Sativa, this is basically the black cumin seed. It's involved in inhibiting all of the different pathways when it comes to cancer, from the inflammatory cascade to arresting cell cycle. That means the cell cycle stop proliferating in cancer, to apoptosis, means killing the cells directly. So it helps your body to basically get rid of the cancer. So again, very bold statements. Current pharmaceutical biotechnology using the role of prevention and treatment of cancer is where we're seeing black cumin seed now more and more. And again, all the different cancers: pancreatic cancer, liver cancer, prostate cancer, oral cancer, breast cancer, bladder cancer, all of the cancer that we're not thinking about every day of our lives, that just shows its ugly head, and when it shows up, it's too late. I think this is a huge impact. And as Susie was saying, it's not just to take it for 1 month or 2 months. We're talking about daily. Take your daily supply of these power seed based nutrition. So again, how does it work? It enhances our own body have what's called natural killer cells in it. And so our own body have the ability to fight cancer. All this does is simply help with that process, which is so powerful. Again, when it looks at all the different cytokines involved in beating cancer, black cumin seed comes up as #1. I mean, you couldn't find a better ancient seed to help fight cancer. So again, looking at all the mechanisms, this is again looking at zoning in on all the different pathways in the human body. And I just want to show you this, because this is what we deal with. I have my PhD in molecular biology, and this is what we spend most of our time looking at. And you see in TQ identified as the inhibition step. I worked on the JAK-STAT pathway in my PhD 15, 20 years ago. So again, looking at all the different pathways that can be involved, and all of the pathways so far shows that black cumin seed inhibits cancer at every single step in this pathway that shows you here. So very excited to basically look at this review. This is again molecular mechanisms. Look at the date, 2023, molecular biology reports, very reputable journals. I mean, that's a huge advance using the black cumin seed. And again, looking at the signaling pathway, just to summarize, it's showing all of the medicinal properties: neuroprotective, anti-inflammatory, kidney help, liver help, pulmonary help also, antihypertensive and anti-carcinogenic. So all the different pathways. And I just want to mention for neurological diseases, things like epilepsy. I mean, so many studies have been done on epilepsy. I gave my talk on Bright for those of you who want that. And this is just a CDC list of more than 200 different types of mental illnesses that we're seeing today. 200 listed. I couldn't list all of them here. And that's to tell you what's plaguing our society today is all these different mental health issues. When we look at the world, that's just the CDC, which is just representative of the United States. When we look at the world, how it's affected, you can see that it's increasing more and more and more. And dementia is just one of those representation of what we're seeing in mental health. And I think this is what Susie alluded to, that Alzheimer's disease, 145% compared to even HIV is in the negative. But in terms of where we're going in the future, and this is just for 2 decades summary of where Alzheimer's is going. And so to see that the black cumin seed, not just cancer, not just cardiovascular health, massive amount of benefits, but also mental health. And that has a lot to do with the lipid solubility of most of the compounds contained in the seed. Okay, here we go again. Neuroprotective effect of the black cumin seed. And this is from the textbook that was just recently published, 2023. Here's a textbook published. And this is just one chapter, 17 of that book, showing effect on dementia, depression, epilepsy, Parkinson's, nervous system in general, dementia, anxiety. I mean, Alzheimer's, the list just goes on and on. Even migraine pains. How many people you know have migraine headaches, and there's all the studies are negative. I mean, this is it right here. You're looking at helping other people decrease their suffering. And I'm not going to take away, repeat, what Susie said, but again, lipid rich content, the lipid components in black cumin seed is enormous. And it takes lipids to cross the blood-brain barrier to get to the brain to have its effect on neurological outcome. And again, for 3,000 years, all the data is exponentially growing, showing neuroprotection, protecting your brain, one of our biggest assets. So that's just the background. What are common opportunities for black cumin seed today, literally today? Well, we know, let me just take you through where we are today. This is the New England Journal looking at the burden of disease. And you can see here back in 1800, look at the things that people died of. And this is just one bill of death in the town of Boston in the 1800s. And you can see people died of all kinds of things like frozen jaw, things I've never even heard of or seen before. Worms, look at that. 11 people died of worms. I mean, so we don't see those things today. But the most two important things that I want to get across to you is, number one, heart disease and cancer. That's the takeaway. Looking at where we are today, still 2019, just before COVID, it's still cardiovascular disease and cancer on planet Earth that's killing our loved ones, friends and family. And that's where the emphasis is to really focus on cardiovascular disease and cancer. You can see here, going down the list, dementia is there, respiratory diseases, number 3. So if you're smoking, this is a good day to stop, pretty good day to stop smoking. But when we break that down into the mortality, into the risk factors, like what are the risks causing people to die? Let's summarize what the risk factors is. Yes, blood pressure is still number 1. Still number 1 reason why people end up dying. Number 2 is smoking, which I just made a proclamation to stop smoking. Number 3, look at number 3. Number 3 is almost the same as smoking. You don't need to smoke in order to get all of the bad effects of what you inhale, because air pollution is doing it for you already. The air pollution is just horrible out there. It accounts for the 3rd leading cause of why people die. Glucose, diabetes and obesity are the next 4 and 5. But look at outdoor pollution is also made number 6. So again, to summarize, I just showed you the benefits of black cumin seed on cancer. So not a bad idea to put in our daily regimen to take black cumin seed. You can't get it in the grocery store. Clearly, Rain provides a very convenient way. Cardiovascular disease, definitely number one still in the world, and neurologic diseases is only 3%. I mentioned that chronic inflammation, this is from the Harvard publications, showing that chronic inflammation basically is accounting for a lot of chronic diseases that we live with, from our kidney to our pancreas to even lungs, heart disease. Everything is boils down to inflammation. If you look at the risk factors for heart disease, it's enormous, but they all lead to inflammation, from high blood pressure to smoking. This is the world projected diabetes, where it's going. The numbers are this is a pandemic in itself. We're looking at, 700 million people, a 50% increase in diabetes around the world. And it's beyond the pandemic. And so what do we expect to see when that happens is massive inflammation the same way. So just to piggyback on what Susie said, taking your anti-inflammatories a natural way with no preservatives is just, it just makes sense. When we look at, the pollution, the air that we breathe, from, pollution everywhere, from even simple things as innocent as a bushfire, and so from the industries, from cars, pollution, it also accounts for up to 10-15% of cardiovascular disease and atherosclerosis. So it's everywhere around us. And so all of these particulate matter causes inflammation, something we need to look at. We see it for the last 4 decades, a 10-fold increase in our kids' obesity, and that just means we're eating the wrong food. That's all it means. Obesity itself, I don't want to beat up on that word obesity. Obesity is just a hallmark that we need to eat more caloric dense foods, nutrition dense foods, like what we see in black cumin seed that have amino acids, essential amino acids, all the vitamins, all the minerals. That's all it means. And we need to start from a young age, encouraging our kids to be healthy. This is, again, looking at the black cumin seed using the word preventative role in cancer. I mean, I've never seen so much highlight of a seed or nutrition. It's telling you, it's screaming at us, prevention and treatment of cancer. Just amazing. So when we look at what causes premature death, why would somebody die tomorrow, today? When they looked at that, they broke it down into different facets of looking at the whole system. As a healthcare provider, genetics, we say, oh, we blame genetics, but that's really 30%. It may be even less. And for some of us, it is important, because if we have loved ones that are related to us that have diseases, yes, we can get those diseases too. But look at 40% is behavioral patterns. Susie mentioned that her behavior is taking the product every day consistently for decades. So it's basically boils down to your behavior, what you eat, what you don't do, what you don't eat, of course. And, that brings us to the basic physiological needs. We all have needs. And so safety needs, belonging, feeling of love and happiness and sharing with relationships has been shown to be, crucial. And we can't get to self, actualization until we master the physiologic needs our body needs. So our health is extremely important. Without good health, unfortunately, nothing else is possible. It's just suffering. As a heart surgeon, as a transplant director, I can tell you, by the time patients present to my office, it's already too late. Too late, and it's a lot of regret. Too much regrets, actually. Okay, so when we look at, this is the focus here, is protective foods. There's foods in moderation and foods to totally avoid, and that's what we need to focus on. Our kids is avoiding those foods. Again, massive benefits from black seed shown in every aspect of fighting cancer, and that just summarizes the last few slides. Now let's talk about diabetics and this pandemic of diabetes in the next 2-3 slides. So clearly our lifestyle, unhealthy lifestyle, leads to diabetes. We know that, and there are pre-diabetes and there's full-blown diabetes. But when we talk about diabetes, I want you to focus now on the inflammation that's caused, that the liver is taking a big hit in that process. And we see here again, pandemic in the world, the global prevalence of what's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It's a liver disease caused from non-alcoholic causes. We know that drinking alcohol could cause liver disease. This is non-alcoholic causes of liver disease. And you can see here the global prevalence of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease among diabetes in the world, average out 55%, 50-50 chance. If you're diabetic, 50-50 chance you have liver disease. where you are in that process, whether you're advanced stage fibrosis, which is 70% of people, or you're in the early process, 55% here, it determines on how long you have diabetes and how well controlled it is and how well controlled it's not. So that's something that this is the knowledge I'm sharing with you today, that you know someone who's a diabetic. It's not about just the diabetes. In the United States, 10% of people are diabetic, but 50 to 70% have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And that could lead into cirrhosis. That leads to my other arm of transplant, which is liver transplant. Just to highlight that data. And in the whole world, it's 55%. Again, many of the components in black cumin seed, highlighted here, are used, and it's actually shown to actually prevent the fibrosis and scarring that's seen in liver disease, what I just mentioned there. So massive amount of benefits. I mean, too much benefits to even go over each of one of them here, but it affects every single organ in our body to bring much better health. So seed-based nutrition as an anti-inflammatory solution, I think I highlighted that so much. I think today we're looking at using food as our medicine. And so that's the push now. You're going to hear more and more talks and webinars on food as our medicine. Food contains chemicals in it, and depending on how the quality of your food determines the quality of your life. It's that simple. And seed-based nutrition is some of the most, I would say, proven. 3,000 years is proven. You couldn't ask for anything longer than that. I mean, to document, documentation only to show what cumin seed has done on all continents. Started in Africa, mostly in Southeast Asia, the black cumin seed, but now it's everywhere, and it's mostly in the Arab countries. Muslim has also popularized it. So in our product, Soul, you can see here the black cumin seed also has black raspberry seed, but this today, the topical black cumin seed, it's powerful, powerful, powerful ingredients, anti-cancer causing, all different cancers, from prostate to breast, lung cancer. I mean, it's just phenomenal. So it's contained in Soul, but it's also contained in Soul Red also, which is the other product that's also offered. Again, black cumin seed is in it, but it's also in Core, which is one of my favorite also, where you get your daily servings of vitamins, vegetables, where 1 in 10 Americans get their fruits and vegetables. I think that's also around the world. It's not just here in America, it's everywhere. We're not getting it. Again, our content, food content, is not dense nutrition. It contains, things that are not nutritious for us. Just leave it as that. And so we want to focus now on really dense. So 1 little packet of Core, 1 ounce, boom, during my lunch break, I take that in my office and it's done. I don't have to think about it. I'm ahead of more people that are everybody else. So help the world today to be a better place. Here is, again, black cumin seed is also contained in Core. And so to summarize, the black cumin seed for the last 3,000 years has proven massive health benefits. But today, if it did for 3,000 years, and for the 21st century health problems that we're seeing today right now. So the world and its food are different today. Clearly, the food is different today. All that processed foods, things we can't even pronounce, the chemicals they put in the foods to keep it tasting so yummy. It's really getting people hooked on, and that's why we have this sort of pandemic with diabetes and everything else. So today, compared to ancient times, but we are finding more helpful benefits of the ancient seeds that are common foods today, your nuts, fruits, vegetables. So seed nutrition, massive benefits on all organ systems, okay? And it's safe, convenient, revolutionary. Rain has been a leading in this technology for, again, over a decade, and its products are just fascinating and great anti-inflammatory solutions for this pandemic and epidemic we're in. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. It's great to see you on a Saturday. I hope your investment in time pays off, and I hope you gain a lot of knowledge on this one. Thank you.